Uganda Women's Effort to Save Orphans, UWESO, was founded in 1986 by Ugandan mothers committed to providing relief aid to needy children affected by the HIV/AIDS pandemic and civil unrest in the mid-1980s.
UWESO has been in existence for the last 30 years. Actually, this year we shall be celebrating our 3 decades of operations in Uganda. UWESO was formed by a group of women who saw it very important to support the plight of vulnerable children. We are happy to be supported by the First Lady of Uganda because she is our patron.
Today, UWESO's holistic approach targets orphans and vulnerable children, working through grassroots clusters based at community level.
Over time, UWESO has actually reached many households and impacted on the lives of very many children. In terms of households, we've served over 600,000 households. We've also been able to reach child-headed households, and there are those children whom we pick directly from the street who are not attached to households. So our interventions have really transformed a lot of lives of vulnerable children.
UWESO operates countrywide with the main offices in Kampala District and 6 regional offices located in the districts of Mbarara, Masaka, Hoima, Lira, Mbale, and Soroti. The Realizing Livelihood Improvement Through Savings and Education Realize project is an initiative that was started to make a significant contribution to the elimination of child labor in tobacco growing areas in Hoima District in Uganda. The Realize project is being implemented by UWESO, a partner of the Eliminating Child Labor in Tobacco Growing Foundation, with an objective to give children every opportunity to reach their full potential. This is by addressing the root cause of child labor in tobacco growing. In Uganda, as in many sub-Saharan African countries, child labor is highly prevalent in the agriculture sector. With families in poverty and the cost of school prohibiting their attendance, many children stay at home to work. They provide the much-needed labor during the planting and harvesting of tea, rice, sugar, and tobacco, and they are called upon to contribute to their family's welfare. Hoima District, located in Western Region, is one of the largest tobacco-growing districts in Uganda.
This is a situation which we're really grappling with as a district because somewhere people seem not to understand what child labor is all about. The major forms of child labor in the district, majorly in the agricultural sector.
This area is well known for growing tobacco, growing rice, charcoal burning. Most of the children are involved in that work. You know, some of these parents in this area, they produce children for work, manual work. They don't, and in fact, at times they are passive about education.
As it is in many areas, tobacco in Hoima District is grown on small holdings at the household level. It is a labor-intensive crop, so often entire families are involved in its production. Children working in tobacco growing are exposed to health hazards including pesticides and dust, carrying heavy loads, and using adult tools that can be dangerous for them. But also, as it is in many places, child labor in Hoima is closely related to poverty. Children often work to support their families and finance their own studies.
Some of us would at times go to school without books, go with only pens with nowhere to write. While looking for money to buy books, we would do part-time work.
Realize project, which launched in January 2013 until December 2016, has been implemented over a period of 4 years in the Hoima District in Uganda, where almost 13% of households grow tobacco, and 8,000 children have been identified as being affected by child labor. The ECLT Foundation and its partner organization UWESO seek broad engagement, working with tobacco and other agricultural companies, national and local government officials, and of course the communities themselves for sustainable impact.
The project doesn't focus on only tobacco, but all other forms of child labor in that area, including other sectors like tea, like rice growing, like fishing, and other forms of child labor within Hoima.
Under each objective, the Realize project implements a broad range of approaches to empower communities and sustain the impact of the project over time. These include withdrawal, education and social services, awareness and advocacy, strengthening communities, and alleviating poverty. The Realize project has been able to impact 18,000 households and 5,940 children. Through Realize, UWESO identifies and withdraws children who are engaged in child labor and protects children at risk of entering child labor. This also involves protecting children who are by law old enough to work but who should not do tasks that are harmful to their health, safety, and well-being.
We were able to reach the various communities through the government structures, through the various sub-counties, and through the probation office, through the community development office, and they are withdrawn from child labor and enrolled in schools.
Here today I'm talking of the enrollment which is 700, but before we had even less than 200 because most children were involved in tobacco growing. So it was a very great struggle, and most children at that time could not come. So we also started counseling, started sensitizing, mobilizing the leaders to make sure that they come back to school and you are ready to assist them where necessary.
UWESO, through its operations, has been able to reach over 5,000 children in 5 sub-counties of Hoima. These sub-counties are Kitoba, Kyangwali, Kigorobya, Bugambe, and Buhanika. My name is Nyamahunge Edith. I'm in P6. I thank UWESO for all they have done for us, like constructing boreholes, classrooms, giving us books, pens, and uniforms.
UWESO has helped me because my mother couldn't manage my school dues. Initially, we used to work in tobacco farms in order to raise school fees, but UWESO has given me scholastic materials and uniform.
Through Realize project, UWESO has helped over 5,600 children who were previously engaged in or at risk of child labor in tobacco growing areas to access quality education. These children go to 14 primary schools which are under the Universal Primary Education. The schools are Bugambe T Primary School, Bujungu Primary School, Kyarubanga Primary School, Iguru Primary School, Kigoma Primary School, Kyabasagazi Primary School, Mbarara Primary School, Bukerenge Primary School, Kyabisigazi Primary School, Kifumura Primary School, Buhanika Primary School, Butole Primary School, Tontema Primary School, and Bugoma Primary School.
This program of elimination of child labor is very important because it impacts on those younger people. Themselves are transformed, the households are transformed, and therefore our contribution is to enable them to be in school by supplementing the efforts of government and the efforts of their parents, so that they are able to have scholastic materials, books, pens, mathematical sets, and other school-related facilities that are beyond the UPE. And also, they are provided with school uniforms so that they are able to fit in school and go back to school.
Ma, ma, me, 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 mo, 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 one, two, three, four, five, six,
Well, have also been able to educate, pay school fees, and buy uniforms for 100 secondary students in the 5 sub-counties. Each sub-county was taking 20 students. The schools in which these children were going to, we had Buhanika Seed, that's in the Buhanika sub-county. We had the Bugambe SS, we had the St. Andrews, St. Thomas, and then Kyangwali SS. Each sub-county had 20 students being sponsored under UWESO. We then aimed that as we are sponsoring them, their parents who are in the saving groups, we expect these parents to continue paying for their children.
And as UWESO, we have continued to support those children so that they don't drop out of school, because they were withdrawn from child labor and brought to school. So the interventions that we are having in place to ensure that we create a conducive environment for children to study at home and also at school.
The project has also helped 240 children between 15 to 17 years who are beyond primary school going age to get vocational training. Some were enrolled in 2 formal vocational institutes and trained in different skills to enable them not get back into child labor. These are Nile Vocational Institute in Hoima District and Mijera UWESO Vocational Institute in Nakasongola District. Others were trained in the communities by master artisans. These train the young people as their apprentices while they actively work to learn their respective trade. Nile Vocational Institute in Hoima has offered practical training to 60 young people in trades that are relevant to the local economy, notably car and motorcycle mechanics, hairdressing, tailoring, carpentry, catering, plumbing, welding and electronics.
And these 60 students, they were under courses or faculties of welding and metal fabrication, motor vehicle mechanics, plumbing, hairdressing, and others were in catering. So these trainees, we trained them, we offered them the required skills and the reliable skills which would help them in the field.
And as I talk right now, almost 90% of those children who finished in vocational skills are self-employed. They have started their own saloons. There are those doing welding. They are doing those involved in building and tailoring and garment cutting as well.
So we're able to give them startup kits, which have enabled many of these children now to engage in those various trades, and they're able to support themselves.
My name is Asaba Vincent. UWESO brought me to Tom's place to learn. In the village, I used to cultivate tobacco since my parents could not afford to pay school fees for me.
Hati UWESO nubo yandesera hano mwamisa Tom okunyegesa then wile buno ndi hano akanyegesa welding no kandika.
I stopped schooling in P5. So UWESO brought me to Tom's place and he has taught me welding and motorcycle repair, and I'm now conversant with them.
Kugenda ninkimanya. Akasenda kankufuna nkukeyambisa nkomukyalo nkoko kweyambisa omuntu obundi n'obundi kweyambaho kwebesaho.
I use the money I earned for personal needs like clothing, which used to be a challenge, and also buying livestock like pigs and goats for small-scale projects.
The young people who gained skills through vocational training have been able to earn an income and save. Therefore, UWESO has encouraged them to join the village savings and loan associations to improve their economic well-being and to impact others in the community in order to eliminate child labor.
The youth that came for these skills, they are very happy. In fact, they have appreciated very much on what UWESO did for them, because very many of them, they were stuck in villages. They were just there, redundant, idlers, but now they are at least responsible people.
Things are moving on well. We get income that helps us, and we also save something.
We are in different saving groups since we got the awareness from Nakasongola.
When also we look at our trained artisans, we normally make a follow-up. We never train them and leave them like that. We make a follow-up to ensure that these children have not gone back into child labor. They are utilizing the startup kits. They are working. We counsel them. We give them daily skills.
Also, to address the problem of child labor in Hoima District, UWESO has helped to improve school infrastructure like renovating classrooms, providing clean water facilities, and therefore improve the learning environment of the children. Parents, teachers, and students have been trained on child labor and how to support children who are withdrawn from it. For some schools, we have painted classroom walls, repaired cracked floors, and also painted murals which carry an educative message about the dangers of child labor in society.
In fact, UWESO has done a lot of things here. Among them, we have rehabilitation of the 4 classes floor, and this one has helped a lot the pupils. In those days, they used to face challenges of having jiggers. So these days, it is now okay. That problem is solved. Another thing is also that it also installed a solar system in the staff quarters, and this one has helped a lot the staff members in preparing their work. So they are now teaching and having schemes done, lesson plans done because of that system of the light, which is helping them to do that.
We are grateful that our Realize project gave us some exercise books. Some of children would come with us exercise books. You imagine somebody in P7 coming with 2 to 3 exercise books, whereas we need about 12 exercise books.
It has also helped us to construct the one block classroom, which we are using now, because before our children were studying outside under the mango. But when it came, it decided to help us. And by now, at least, we have the building where our pupils are inside starting from. Academically, they are also improving slowly by slowly, because before they were upsetting themselves because of those materials which they didn't have, but because they have them, at least now their attendance is improving. And when the attendance is improving, it means the academic performance also has to improve.
It had also constructed a freestance latrine for our school. So far, on the issue of sanitation, our school is somehow okay.
What has been done is that school environment has been improved by renovating some of the classrooms, or when they had a classroom which was halfway done, was completed. It was more of supplementing the efforts of the community.
And we also had to support them in terms of clean water. We had to renovate, the water sources in schools for use by the children and the communities.
But also to minimize corporal punishment in schools. Because whereas children are working, but when they come at the school, they should find a safe environment for them to study.
Through the same project, we have also distributed music instruments in our 14 schools. The aim of these music instruments was to promote children's talent and as well as to attract children to come to schools.
To encourage class attendance, some schools have been provided with farm tools and equipment to boost on the process of growing of crops and livestock farming within the schools. This helps build the capacity of the school to provide meals for the children and improve on their welfare so they can live, learn, and thrive.
In fact, we are grateful. We are provided with food. And not physical food, but we were given slashers, we are given hose, we are given pangas, and also provided with money. And after being provided with money, for gardening project. And we are happy that children have been feeding, produced beans, we produced also maize and cassava. And now cassava is ready. We are now feeding on cassava.
We had previously a lot of problems of high dropouts, children not staying in school, children not studying very well, children not feeding, not eating from school. But when this project came in our district, we have really registered a lot of success.
When you look at the schools that we are working with, you will find that enrollment has been increased and retention has taken place. When you look at the schools that we are having, we are feeding, that is Bukerenge Primary School and Chabasenja, whereby we gave them the farm tools, and now the school is farming their own food. The retention in such schools have been improved. Even the enrollment has really gone high. Even in other schools where we are distributing scholastic materials, the retention has been improved and the enrollment has also increased greatly.
You see, some of these children, at times they miss to have meals in their homes. At least they can be attracted that if they go to school, they'll be able to have food.
So as UWESO, we are trying to see that in all the 14 schools, they are all supported to see that we promote feeding at school, because we have seen something which is good and is bringing results where it is being implemented.
UWESO, through the Realize project, has advocated for the inclusion of awareness-raising activities in the school's curricula through activities such as music, drama, and drawing activities. These activities have helped children understand that they should not engage in tobacco growing but be in school, and helping them understand the distinction between light work, child labor, and the worst forms of child labor. Some of the platforms used for sensitization include holding local radio talk shows in partnership with other stakeholders like the DEO, police, and probation officers.
At a school, we're working with school authorities to ensure that there are children clubs, which ensure that there's children participation on issues which affect them, including child labor, to raise their voices so that they're in a position to support other fellow children who are affected by child labor. And as a result of that, we are seeing that schools have integrated issues of child labor in their work plans, and they're able to talk about issues of child labor, and that is also another way of raising awareness in the community.
We also have out-of-school clubs where youth come together and compose messages on child labor and act some of these messages as a way of discouraging other children from engaging in child labor.
UWESO, UWESO, UWESO. Oh, how wonderful you are. Taking care of us. We who were once forsaken. Let's work in tobacco plantations. Carrying heavy loads. Taking care of babies at home. While our friends are busy progressing in their education. No more child labor, no more child labor. Yes, yes, yes. Quality education in progress.
One of the reasons that forces children to work in tobacco gardens is so that they can supplement family income or they have a low income at household level. Owing to the above, UWESO introduced the Village Savings and Loan Associations, VSLAs, as a strategy to improve household income levels by inculcating the savings culture and promoting self-help projects among orphan and vulnerable children caregivers. About 600 VSLA groups have been formed to cater for 18,000 caregivers, and over 7,000 have been trained to save and learn business skills. Some have already started sustainable income-generating activities such as poultry, animal rearing, beekeeping, and others. More than 375 community-based trainers have received trainings to support their VSLA groups. Through weekly meetings by VSLA members, the Realize project has provided a platform through which women regularly meet to share ideas and experiences. The meetings also act as mechanisms for identifying drivers of child vulnerability in communities and brainstorming solutions for care and protection of children.
People never knew how to save and borrow, but with the help of UWESO as an NGO, now members have that attitude that once I save, then the few benefits which I get, pay for my daughter or son who is in such and such a school, then the education continues.
We have 568 VSLA groups, and those VSLA groups are reaching out to over 13,000 caregivers. Those caregivers in the VSLA groups are able to save money on a weekly basis, and they're using that money to meet the basic needs of children.
And we believe that as they also meet regularly, they discuss issues of child labor, and the savings they also make will definitely go a long way to make them raise money to pay fees for their children, and also it creates other alternative livelihoods other than tobacco growing.
So we're working with the communities to ensure that we promote village savings and loan associations, we promote business skills training. At the end of the day, parents are able to have a source of income.
They have managed to uplift the standards of living of our people. We have strengthened the economy, they are working hard. For instance, these VSLAs sit every week and people have to save. They know that they have to save, they have to go back and work hard to get the money they will save the next week. So people are working hard and their livelihoods have improved, and they are educating their children so well, and they are testifying whenever you go to the community. We have managed to educate our children, I have managed to put up a house, I have managed to start a project like a shop.
Twatandikire nkawantine ekyokunyamba nina baana abakusoma.
Initially, I never had any help, and I have school-going children and grandchildren who I had to look after. However, this group has helped me so much. I used to stay in darkness, but with the help of this group, I have acquired a solar system and my house is in bright light. My children now feed well, and I also save some money and borrow capital to boost my agriculture projects.
We have also grown from dependency and decided to help our own community members through VSLA groups. We help children from disadvantaged families that can't afford education. These groups so far are helping 7 children by providing them with books, uniforms, and make sure that at least give them a bar of soap monthly.
Remarkably, an overwhelming number of caregivers have enrolled into the practice. Results demonstrate positive trends in savings, establishment of income-generating activities through accessing affordable credit, and improved household incomes that help women to meet their own needs and the needs of their children. Some of the income-generating activities include poultry, piggery, crop production, beekeeping, and cattle rearing.
These ideas were distributed according to the proposals of the groups. We've so far distributed ideas to 88 VSLA groups, and we expect them to look after them very well, with an aim of looking after our child. Not only do we stop at distributing ideas to them, but we also train them in business skills and management. Having shared out their money after 9 months of saving or 1 year, depending on the constitution of a group, we expect these members to invest their money in businesses rather than using it for other things that would not bring in development.
Tulina abaana abasoma mu UWESO ku Bugambe T primary school, abamu abazadde baabwe bali mu kibiina kino. Era ente eno egenda kuyamba abaana.
We have children under UWESO project in Bugambe T primary school whose parents are in this group. This cow will help by bringing us milk products and selling some to buy scholastic materials for our children. As a group, we have benefited from this cow because we use the dung as manure in our gardens.
Kajoininga group ya UWESO guno ati emyaka eja kasatu itulu mu group ejo.
We joined UWESO 3 years ago, and my saving group is called Tokorakorane Group. We started saving and prospering because we would save and borrow from the same group. UWESO gave us 5 goats, and they've multiplied to 10 now. We therefore request UWESO to support us for at least more 5 years, so that we can fully benefit.
Twatandikire group eno tukatuhambiriza kutunga enkoko, tutunge enkoko ez'enyama n'enkoko ez'amahuli.
When we started this group, we established poultry projects for both layers and broilers. For this, we managed to feed our children on eggs and sell off the surplus to meet their school dues.
Kituyambire muno nkanyoha bwange nyihaye sente za loan ezo nyeziguzamu emibazi.
It has helped us because personally, I get loans that help me for medication, taking care of my household, as well as facilitating my children's education. We have also benefited from the piggery project because from the piglet we received, we are able to get more piglets that we sell and put the money in our savings box, and we hope to get more income and expand the project.
UWESO ekatwara omukuru Sanyu Ignatius yaja kutwegesa omulingo group erakoraki.
UWESO brought Mr. Sanyo Ignatius and started us on how to start these groups. We chose an API project because it's less tasking and we can perfect it more than any other options. They gave us 10 halves and we added more 4. We managed to harvest honey, from which we earned 400,000 shillings. We bought iron sheets and constructed a shelter. We also promised to support us with other equipment. We hope to transfer these hives, the shelter that we constructed, after surrounding it with flowers.
Mujjamu mu budde ki?
Twiha omukwezi kwa 8 n'omukwezi kwa 3.
Lwaki gwa 8?
Zimara myezi 3 nubo ziba zitandikira twiha obwoki obwezere.
Kati beehive emu bweteba wali tazimeka.
Obwoki.
Obuki.
Ntwaro nkena.
Nitusoneta abantu konera itwana nituhura bala mtu akwatwage ekikohore eki wanambe no kohora no endambe okufavufa katwali maga katwasonaga kyonka UWESO yayizire yatwihayo yatukolera ebowa yatuletera ebitabu yatuletera epeni yatuletera ebintu bingi ebintu byona tisana obimarayo.
When it comes to ending child labor, no single player can make a significant difference in isolation. Governments, trade unions, and employers all have the responsibility to work together. That kind of collaboration can be extremely difficult and at times can be all too rare. Therefore, UWESO, through the ECLT Foundation funding, together with other stakeholders, developed a national action plan, which represented a legal framework to implement project interventions that would best help children against the worst forms of child labor.
And this action plan is like a shopping document on issues of child labor. It is helping, the district is helping the other CSOs to understand the problem of child labor. At the district level, we are working closely with the community department, education department, and water officer to ensure that children are protected. With the water office, we are able to ensure that children access safe and clean water at school by putting up boreholes and also repairing those which were in a bad shape. And with the education office, we're ensuring that we're working with the inspector of schools, we're working with the DO to ensure that the school management committees understand their roles, the teachers are in class and are not causing harm to the children in form of violence.
We have tried to sensitize both the teachers and the parents. We have been holding symposiums at sub-county levels, education discussions, sharing with the parents what their challenges are, and even sharing with the teachers what the challenges are.
We have a functional district OVC coordination committee, and also at the sub-county level we have the sub-county OVC coordination committees. So most of the issues have been tabling them together with our partners and stakeholders. And we are really trying to come up with strategies which at least reduce the magnitude of the problem.
UWESO works closely with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and other development partners in order to implement the Realize project. This is through a national steering committee responsible for guiding the work in Uganda. District leaders are also helpful in identifying the vulnerable children. Child protection committees have been set up at community level, and these help to follow up on the cases of children involved in child labor, children who are abused either physically, sexually, or emotionally. These can handle such cases. However, some cases are referred to the CDO or the police.
So we are seeing that with this integration, with this support at different level, issues of child labor are being addressed in the district of Hoima.
But the biggest challenge, many people seem not to understand and appreciate child labor as a problem. That's why to date, some people still pull their children out of school, yet they're supposed to be in school. The district, however, has come up with an education ordinance to ensure we withdraw all the children from child labor and put them back in school or vocational skills training.
And the first challenge is the transformation of the households, because it doesn't take place easily. It is a continuous, a progressive process. So some of those IGAs, the income generating activities, some of them don't mature well. Then another issue is to work with the school in order to control absenteeism. Elimination of child labor cannot only be fixed just in an evening. You have to continue monitoring. We have a team of whom we call community-based trainers, who are our representatives as a project to enable these children and the community's effect on those programs.
We have the issue of the negative attitude by some parents. Some parents are not willing to contribute towards the welfare of their children. They don't know that when they take care of children, those children in the future, they also take care of them well.
Ebintu by'okusoma tulabirawo mugaso. Onfuna kati bw'okwata ssente n'ogenda n'olima omuceere oba n'olima taaba oba n'olima ki myezi 2, 3, 4, 5 olaba amagoba nga gakoze eki naye ebyokusoma amagoba gajja mu ki maaso.
So what we're trying to do is to ensure that there is a lot of dialogue with these parents to understand the problem. And then another problem we are seeing is that with UPE there is a lot of congestion, and now the fact that we have withdrawn children from child labor and are coming to school, then it is making classes congested, because when you look at the schools we are working with, enrollment has gone up, but then the infrastructure has remained the same. In terms of classes, in terms of toilets, in terms of teachers, the same.
My name is Nyakato Juliet. I am a P6 class. Ate isomero lyaitu tulikubi. Tune isomero litiyito class tetanfunda. Tune destined yito tulibana 12 mu ntebe tukala bana 10 mu ntebe tulikubi tukala ntwefunda.
By the time we entered into this program, our school enrollment was 710. Presently, the enrollment is 990 pupils. As the population has risen, that means the pupils are too many in the class. The list of all the classes is having at least 120. That is the least class. The rest are above.
One of the recommendations we'd like to put forward is that there should be continued engagement of the parents and the communities as far as child labor is concerned, because it's something which has been accepted in the community, and it will take time for parents or caregivers to know that child labor is a very big problem which affects children emotionally, psychologically, and physically. We'd also like to continue working with the communities to improve income, because one of the things which forces children to go and work is low incomes in their households, because they are unable to meet the basic needs of their families. So we'd like to continue engaging the communities to see that they understand and also get involved in issues or in economic activities which bring income in their households.
We want to appeal to the private sector because the private sector is also looking at the very people whom we are supporting. So let them not sit back and wait for these people to grow. Let them intervene at this point when these children are still young, engage their households, and if possible, commit some money, some of their resources to help fight this vice of child labor. We also want to appeal that the governance structures should really be strengthened, because where the governance is weak, you find that there is no serious intervention can last. So we need to ensure that the governance structures, both at community level and at sub-county level, are strengthened to support the interventions.
It takes a partnership of parents, multiple stakeholders, technical advisors, governments, and advocating on behalf of children to ensure that their voices are heard and their rights are respected. It takes helping families succeed, strengthening communities and public systems so that they can protect vulnerable children until they reach a legal working age.
Amabara gange nyokyumuro misaki. Kirasi insumiro mpifo. Bana banyikalirayi banywani bange. Myaka yange 14. Kusaba bya UWESO byetukolire. Ekanya mukyaro yaji yandita isomero. Yantwara unanga. kunyambaga kunyamba ndi mukyalo nyali mageta hapo yaje atandika kunyamba yampa seti yampa n'ebitabu na bino ebyora binjweire UWESO niyo yabimpaire kusaba UWESO byetukolire ekatukanikira ekyoma yatumbikira n'amaju gabegesa kusaba mbanyenda bwendikura mbe pilot mbanyenda UWESO etwongere bintu bindi etumbikira amakilasi etutemu na deski otwikara ntebe twikara twefutika onasindikono tuba ntwandika onumbatengisono nebisopo manyana na UWESO gano mazono tuyamba etutera onatanka Thank you.
I want to thank the various structures which have supported this project, especially the National Steering Committee that sits at the national level. It draws members from various sectors. I want to thank them very much for their input in this program. A number of times they've gone to monitor the project on the ground. I also thank the district local government of Hoima for their commitment to this project, and most importantly, our donor, Elimination of Child Labor in Tobacco Growing.
So we'd like to thank ECOT for the support, and we thank the government of Uganda and the district local government of Hoima for their support, because we're not doing it as UWESO, but it's a joint effort of all those different stakeholders for the work they're doing.